I really enjoy sex. I enjoy spending time with two or more people traversing the boundaries of each other's bodies, where the barriers of insecurity, rage, and fear dissolve into yum. No reproduction needed, thank you. Sex is the gift. I've also spent a lot of time with doctors hovering around my vagina. Not sexy at all. Some doctors don't appreciate women who like sex. It's like dentists and sugar. You should have more self-control. From the moment I get my period, it rules me in a torturous cycle of existential crisis and pain, monthly death practices. I take 800 milligrams of Motrin until a hole forms in my stomach lining. At 16, I learn I probably have endometriosis, and I may not be able to have children. But in my early 20s, when I can't afford my birth control prescription, I get pregnant. I think I can do it, but my boyfriend isn't ready, and I don't want to force him into parenthood. I decide to get an abortion. At the clinic, the one with the good volunteer doctors, the waiting room is full of other couples, folding into one another. Shame lays heavily over us as we try to find somewhere to rest our eyes. When I'm pregnant again, the decision is quick. No time to waste on hope. 7 years later, I have surgery to remove ambitious cancer cells on my uterus, likely caused by HPV. The male surgeon who cauterizes 30% of my cervix scolds me for being reckless. At the follow-up, the female attending confirms the miracle of my body. You have a beautiful cervix. Feel good about planning a family. So I get married and I start trying. Despite my beautiful cervix, I spend the next 4 years pregnant and miscarrying. I lose count of how many times. I learned to take the pills and abort at home, alone, crawling from the toilet to the bed. Looking for salvation, I climbed to the top of a mountain in Tiruvannamalai for the guru's blessing. Follow the yogic path, use pills and creams in my vagina, give my body over to healers and doctors, but still I bleed and bleed. No one knows why. Diligent and organized, I call the insurance companies to recount the losses. The DNCs, medications, progesterone pills, and monitoring are all necessary health care, but I have to prove that they're not pre-existing conditions. Fuck you, Dead Scalia. Fuck you, Dead Scalia. My in-laws wonder why I can't get over it. My sadness is a repellent. I go to Barnes & Noble's on 14th Street to get a recommended book. I can't find it, so I approach the kid at the information desk about the author. What's the title? The title is Miscarriage. How do you spell that? Yeah. The book is next to my bed. When my husband breaks out in hives, I use it as an opportunity to mother him. Mothering him feels good. Off I go to Walgreens for Caladryl and enter the bizarre fluorescent tunnel of light. Can I help you? Sorry, how long have I been standing here? I look up to see giant diaper boxes covered in fat, smiling babies towering over me, and I'm gut punched back into this shit moment in a podunk pharmacy wearing my pajamas, just strung out on depression. I tell my husband I want a divorce. Once I'm on my own, I use sex, weed, and alcohol to bury the pain. But mothering my yoga students, making art, and a community of supportive friends and healers guide me back to health. I'm free. Surfing, traveling, and as always, having lots of delicious sex. I still want a family. And of my lovers, the woman I love cannot imagine a life with me. Then I met Mark, a feminist and vibratory sexual equivalent who's turned on by my power. He's turned on by my power and independence. He comes from a close family, which I admire. We do not talk about love, but he wants a baby with me. That's enough. This time when I'm pregnant and bleeding, I don't feel alone. We find a doctor who will help us pro bono, an agreement I'm sure he comes to regret. I kneel sideways on an ER bed, surfing the bloody sheets, pointing and crying. The doctor rolls his eyes and pats my foot. Lie down, Erin. It'll be okay. Let's run some tests. But I know something is terribly wrong. The pregnancy is ectopic and chemically removed with methotrexate. My tubes are saved, which is a miracle. Ohio's 2019 heartbeat bill says that to avoid criminal charges, including murder, a physician must attempt to reimplant an ectopic pregnancy into the woman's uterus. Total dumbassery. Thank God I wasn't forced into this unnecessary surgery that would have destroyed my tubes and possibly taken my life. Mark shows up at the hospital in a hot pink head wrap, carrying my favorite pillow and comfort foods. My magical trickster wolf. That is when I fell in love with him. When I get pregnant for the last time, the doctors say that it's not viable. They want to do a D&C, but I'm a pro. I'm not going to hand my body over again. Mark and I retreat to a tree house in Costa Rica for a month and hope for the best. On New Year's Eve 2011, I have another miscarriage. That baby, like the others, passes from my body, a tiny gray mass, swaddled in the bright red blood of my uterus. We nestle into the jungle to heal and try to make peace with the reality that we will not have a child. A medicine woman rests her hand on mine and cocks her head. Are you sure you're not still pregnant? So when we return to Brooklyn, we head back to the doctor just to be sure. I do not need a D&C. The sonographer inserts the vaginal sonogram one last time, and we see him. A pulsing light. Our son. We didn't lose him after all. This little soul has been in and out of my body for 20 years. 20 years. The only explanation we have now is that he had a twin. What's sometimes referred to as a lost twin, a monochromatic or disappearing twin. I often think of it as a selfless child, universal grace, or my stubborn resolve. Middle-aged parenting has its benefits. Menopause, though, create swings that feel like some sort of tripped out Disney flume ride. My progesterone is plummeting, my hair's falling out, joint pain and hot flashes keep me awake at night, but I still love sex. Oh, thank you, people. You just handed me a tissue. That's awesome. Like Miss Roper on Three's Company, chasing Jack Tripper around in a caftan. I'm positively giddy to be done dropping eggs. Today, our son is 10 years old. He's funny and smart and proud of our family. I would gnaw through steel to protect him. But I have to send him to school every day in a hustle culture surrounded by pandemics, book bans, and the constant terror of guns. This long journey to hand over our child to this disaster. When he starts getting bullied, Mark and I request an urgent conference. The staff are overwhelmed, but they make time for us. Thank you, I say to the social worker. Of course, she says. You're a family. The same type of insecure bullies that used to beat my ass, who torment my son now, want to take over the world. But we aren't going to let you. Hungry little power man, I don't even see you anymore, but you're going to see me. I stopped underestimating myself a long time ago. Your guns and your healthcare bans do not give you immortality. Who and what are you protecting? Because it isn't my family. Like the jungles around our treehouse, life can heal you, hide you, isolate, or bury you. It's tangled, it's messy, it's heartbreakingly tragic and relentless. But when we lift each other up, it's beautiful. My feminist allies, we may pass through birth and death alone, but not life. In this, we are together. And it's time to fucking fight.